let's see if Skeffington, the therapy dog, will be joining us tonight as well. That's his dog. That's Skeffington. So we've got, hold on, let me move that there. And by the way, we would, before the night is over, we would like an introduction to Skeffington, the therapy dog. Oh, can you hear me? Obviously they can't hear me. Hold on. I gotta see if I'm on the screen. We can't hear you. What's wrong? Hold on. Just give us a second here. I was just texting with her. Why don't you try calling me? Okay, I'll stay on here until you get on. No. Let's see if this works this time. I can hear you on the phone, but I can't hear you there. I think having Skeffington in the video is going to get you a resident. If you go to your control panel, you might be able to go to settings. Try that. No, you should go under sound. While we set this up, I'm going to have, hold on 1 second. Residents, we're moving you up while we figure this out. While we play with this, I'm going to have our in-house residents come and talk. You can hear me? Can you hear me? No. Hold on 1 second. Wait. You can't, hold on 1 second. Let me introduce the other resident.
Test.
Hold on. Say that again.
Test.
All right, we've got you.
Is this thing on? Hello? You know, that's what they say at all the shows.
Okay, now you have to wait another 10 minutes.
Okay.
Rude.
Okay, Ashley, you can hang up the phone now.
Okay. Thanks.
So here we have Dr. Dan Bowersox and Dr. Ashley Gentrup, and the most important member of the phone call is Skeffington, the therapy dog.
Skeff!
Skeff, come.
There we go. Skeff, on.
Dr. Bowersox, is it true that you treat Skeffington better than you do the resident?
Well, I comb the dog.
He might have had business cards before me as well.
Yeah, maybe.
So
the dog had the cards first.
Well, he's, sorry, Ashley, he's much cuter than you.
Thanks. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
She's one of my former students.
Always torturing. Always torturing.
Someday you'll don't worry. Good things, Okay. So here we have Dr. Bowersox and Dr. Gentrup, and we've got a group of first, second, thirds, and fourths. So tell them about your practice, and Ashley, eventually you'll get to tell them about your week, and then, of course, you're going to have to tell us how you incorporate that big mop in front of us into the therapy program.
Well, basically, we're kind of a wide, different type of patient base than most. We have a fair number of pediatrics. We have a lot of geriatrics. We have a lot of pathology. We have about 1,000 square feet of vision therapy space down in the basement. We also have about 1,000 square feet apartment for the interns that we have from Indiana University. Don't throw stones. And
they need a lot of help.
They need a lot of help. You guys are way better off where you're at as far as vision therapy goes, let me just say. But so we have a lot of different diagnostic equipment, everything from a VEP to OCT, all that sort of different equipment. We have 4 lanes, and it's a smaller town, nice private practice. And not a bad setting at all. So, any questions? My dog is biting the crap out of my arm. Anyway.
We know that was really your toy.
Yeah, it wasn't my squeaky toy.
So,
anyway.
Ashley, can you give us a sense of what your week looks like?
Yeah. So, Monday and Tuesday I'm in just primary care, patient care. So I'll have a 95-year-old with a prosthetic eye that hasn't been removed for 3 years, so remove it, clean it if she will let you. Then next door is the 2-year-old that has an esotropia, or, a 4-year-old Hispanic girl that speaks very little English and has 4 diopters a cylinder. And then her 8-year-old brother who's not doing well in school because he has a saccadic dysfunction, as well as difficulties. Spanish is his first language, but then he's trying to learn in English, and his parents can't help him because they don't speak English. So there's a lot of that type of stuff going on as well. And then I've got a 45-year-old mother of 4 that wants to wear contact lenses, so I'm doing a multifocal contact lens fit. Then I have to run back and go do something else, interpret a test, things like that. So there's a lot of primary care, which is great, just to keep up on skills. Because if I was doing pediatrics all day long, glaucoma, what's that? As you all know, in Memphis, there's a ton of glaucoma. I've seen macular degeneration, which you don't typically see a lot of in Memphis, which was kind of, I had to grab Dr. B. I'm like, this is geographic atrophy, right? So, then Wednesday I have time to do, research stuff. We're doing a research project with one of the local elementary schools. We've asked the school to identify, we asked them to identify 20 students that were struggling readers and invited them to a meeting where we talked about visual skills. We evaluated their visual skills of the patients that were interested. Unfortunately, only 4 of them followed through, but we're doing vision therapy for free for those kids once a week. The school's given us time to go do their home therapy sessions because we want to give them as little barriers to therapy as possible. So we're doing, I'm working on Wednesdays with some of that, and I'm in therapy both Wednesday and Thursday afternoons, seeing different types of patients. I'm kind of helping the therapists program patients. Some of them, we help each other back and forth. How do you do things here? I give them ideas to change up treatment and things like that. Then Thursday during the morning, I'm doing primary care. Friday afternoon, I'm doing primary care. Friday morning, I'm doing stuff with the staff, training on OCT, trying to help better the practice as well, getting a little bit of private practice experience as well as clinical experience, which I feel is really important, which makes, Dr. Bowersox's residency a lot different from the school-based residencies. So there's that.
So we do have a large Hispanic patient base. We're running probably about 25% Hispanic, and of the exams we do, I would say that probably 5 to 10% of them are done in Spanish. So if you speak Spanish, that's a big help. If you don't, we have plenty of staff around that speak Spanish, so it's not a deal breaker if you don't.
Right. And typically, I just say, "Lo siento, mi español es horrible."
Horrible.
And then they kind of laugh, and they know that their English might not be the best. So then we do a kind of a combination of English, Spanish, and sign language. You know, los ojos no trabajan juntos type stuff. And then they kind of get the idea. So,
Dr. Gentrup, if I didn't know you, I would think that you were a natural Spanish speaker.
Right? I know, Dr. Taub.
So it's just so smooth.
Your response needs to be gracias.
Yeah. De nada.
So can you tell everybody what you're looking for in a resident, Dr. Bowersox?
Actually, what I'm looking for is another person like this. Basically, very self-motivating, excellent with patients. I'm looking for someone who is interested in trying to find the balance between private practice and how to do vision therapy and how to do it well, and looking to find someone who has a true interest in pediatrics, but also we're starting to see more pediatric TBI, which I never thought I would get into. I never thought it would be a part of my practice. And it's like we have a couple of cheerleaders right now that are absolutely some of the saddest cases you've ever seen. And these are 16, 17-year-old girls. And, so it's stuff that you wouldn't think. And when I first thought about TBI, I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I want to do TBI. And then I took some classes and figured out, well, TBI is just like vision therapy, except the person's typically older. Mm-hmm. So, you're doing the same stuff, you're using the same tools, you're using the same equipment, but, you're just trying to give them back what they lost as opposed to teaching them how to do it for the first time ever. We also have a veterans vision program at Bowersox Vish. And what that is if we have a post 9/11 vet that comes to us with TBI, that's service related TBI, we see them for free, and we see them for free as long as they need to be seen. We've had several people take advantage of that. It's those folks. I was never in the service, so it's just one of the small ways that I can try and pay back a little bit. But getting those guys in is kind of rough. It's hard to get them to admit that they need the assistance because they're pretty strong-willed and independent. So.
But to take someone who can't handle walking into Walmart because
Right.
it's so visually overstimulating, or someone who has an AP history that can't sit through a course anymore, or can't pick up her violin and play with the orchestra because it's too much. And when you have dads cry that say, "I just want my little girl back,"
Right.
that makes you okay. Let's help this person.
Yeah, and the person she's talking about took French for 3 years and now can't remember a word of it. That's the stuff that when you're I kind of joke about if you can make dads cry, that's good with results. But it's the real deal when you can get parents to understand what you're trying to do and why you're trying to do it, and this is the plan, and we're going to show you the route and how it's going to happen. It assists them. And with one of my veterans, he came in, he looked like he lived under a bridge, and he was a lieutenant colonel, and my gals were kind of afraid of him, and it was kind of a case of, well, how are we going to know that he's doing better? And I'll say, watch the beard, watch the hair. When the beard gets high and tight and the hair gets high and tight, you'll know you're doing good work. And it took about 5 months, and he finally came around. And then I waited another month and went down and asked him, and I said, so how's it going? He goes, well, it's going pretty good. And I said, well, how do you know? And he said, well, I'm not finding myself at the kitchen table at 2 a.m. with an open bottle of bourbon and a loaded gun. I said, well, that's progress. He goes, oh, yeah, that's big progress. So, we're affecting lives. We're changing the way that people do business. And we're improving it, and it's great to have the kids that are coming up. I got a book. You see my book? I got my book. That's great too, And
don't tell my mom I'm crossing my eyes.
Wait,
what?
What? Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, she told me never cross my eyes, but now I have to cross my eyes.
Let's see. Maybe do we before we meet Skeffington again? Do we have any questions from the audience? Hold on, we're going back to. Hold on.
They stuck you back in the old classroom, Dr. Tao?
Sad. A bajillion-dollar building, and he gets the crappy room.
Earned it.
He earned it, yeah.
So I was curious. I talked to one of your externs from last year, Rachel Woodburn.
Yeah.
She said that your practice was phenomenal, and she highly recommended doing a residency there. And so I was kind of curious, like, how many peds kids do you see? Because I really want to do pediatrics.
Mm-hmm. Well, it depends on the month. Because Kentucky is the land of optometric milk and honey. She loves it when I say that. But anyway, we have all the best laws. And the deal is that during the month of June, July, and August, we probably run, 75% kids under the age of 8.
3, 4, 5-year-olds, just boom, boom, boom.
As many 3, 4, and 5-year-olds as you can stand, and sometimes a few more than you can stand. And and then it slows down a little bit. Typically in the fall and this time of year, a little bit. Our patient base is more the elderly patient base, but we still saw 8, 9 kids today. Mm-hmm. That's just today. At least 9. And so we're never not seeing children. We're always seeing, there'll be a kid on your schedule every day, I guarantee it. But there's times where you'll have 6 kids in a row. There'll be times where you'll have only 2 on the schedule for a day. And it varies a great deal. It's not a pure peds practice. It's a lot of different things, and it's some crazy pathology every once in a while too.
Yeah.
And we have the equipment for that.
Very cool. Any other questions? Would Skeff like to say goodbye?
Yeah.
Maybe. Skeff.
Hey, come.
Everybody. Come on. That's a buddy. And then in my office every day. He comes to work with me every day, and he's a huge part of the practice because the kids love him, and he's a 70-pound golden doodle. And
what kind of dog is he?
Golden doodle. It's golden retriever and poodle.
Dr. Talbot, he'd be like your dogs with 4 tranquilizers.
What was that? What was that?
It would take your dogs a few tranquilizers to get to the chill of Skeff.
Skeff is pretty chill, I have to say, for the most part. But he's 11, almost 11 months old now.
Aww.
So.
But he's great. A lot of kids are a little apprehensive about coming to the doctor. The chair looks like the chair that they see at the dentist when they had to get their cavity filled, or the shot that they had to get at their pediatrician. And so, we let them explore. There's no shots here, no shots here. And if they're still a little nervous, how do you feel about dogs? Even if they're afraid of dogs, they still will look through the window at the big fluffy white thing. Mm-hmm. Is he real?
Yeah.
He's moving? Okay, and then we warn them. He's very friendly. He does like to kiss. He'll lick all over your face. And, even if... that typically calms them down if they were nervous at all, but most kids usually aren't.
I had a patient that was mid-20s with Down syndrome and only spoke Serbian. And even though she had a translator, she was pretty apprehensive about the whole thing. Fortunately, she spoke fluent big white fluffy dog. And so I brought Skeff into the room, and she was just super calm after that, and everything was great. And as long as she got to pet the dog, I could do anything I wanted. So it worked out real well. And, it's a big motivator for kids. Hey, if you work really hard on this vectogram, we can go upstairs and play with Skeff afterwards for 5 minutes. Oh, okay. All right. I'll do that. So,
And to answer your question, we will not be having any therapy dogs in the Southern College of Optometry clinic anytime soon.
Just wait, Dr. Tao.
I'm just saying.
Just
Not
wait.
gonna happen.
And you can even, he even has his own Facebook page, Skeffington Therapy Dog.
I am his friend.
Yeah, I know, but I was talking to them.
Yeah.
But yes.
But I notice he hasn't liked optometry and visual performance yet. Can you correct that?
Oh, see, I'll try, but it's so hard. No opposable thumbs. It's mousing is hard for him.
I bet Ashley can make that happen.
I bet.
Well, thank you, Dr. Bowersox. Thank you, Dr. Gentrup.
You're welcome.
Thanks, guys. Have a great night.
Thank you. And now, hold on, let me stop our